I'm on here, number one, and check in and see how everybody's doing. Sorry, my lighting isn't all that great. I did not bring my Ring camera when I relocated here to um, Las Vegas. But on today, I got a text message this morning, and I just could not believe the news. I'm like, this has got to be like a hoax. Because, people for some reason want to unalive people all the time online. And then you start digging and you start searching and you start to see that one of the Cosby kids um, has, transitioned. And life is but a vapor. It really is. And um, I just can't believe Malcolm-Jamal Warner is deceased. And it's weird to me because, we all know him so well from The Cosby Show. He was Theo Huxtable, always doing something, the Gordon Gartrell shirt, the earring, all that time him and Cockroach um, had to learn how to live in the mad real world, learn how to pay rent and all this stuff because, he thought he was grown and ready to go. And it's just so many. Oh, the Justine song. Remember Justine. But he was so much more than that. I was just watching The Closer a couple weeks ago, and in the later seasons, he showed up there. And so this is really hard. And I see all the tributes and outpouring of love. And he was young. He was only 54 years old. And it's hard when you see your adversaries, go so early. It's heartbreaking. I also remember watching Malcolm and Eddie. But I used to run more than once into Malcolm-Jamal Warner when I lived in LA. As a matter of fact, him and Regina King, back in the day when they were dating, and her son was a little boy then, they joined my church. Um, And I remember one Sunday, because it is church and people are at a worship experience, I was one of the people waiting, outside the doors to be let in. And I happened to look down and I'm like, oh my God, that's Regina King. And then I kind of look up and I was like, oh my God, that's Malcolm-Jamal Warner. And, they attended church and, but we didn't bother them. They were just parishioners, just like the rest of us. At the church, and I really hated when that relationship ended. I did, because I thought they were perfect for each other, but I think that Malcolm had his own ideologies about marriage, and ultimately from what I understand, I didn't know this either. Um, he apparently leaves a widow and a daughter, which no one seems to have seen, probably other than his inner circle. I know his mama Pam is just hurting and probably totally losing it because I believe he was an only child. That's her baby. Um, and she was the nicest lady. My stepfather used to work for the airlines, and sometimes, he worked in that center where, they were VIPs, and, he talks about how very nice, she was. So definitely let's keep his family lifted in prayer. This is a hard one. This is really hard because, and I hate to say this, but there's so many evil people in the world. And in my mind, I was like, God, why him? Why not that man they say is our president? And I know that's mean. God forgive me. But that's what I was thinking today. And, it's like somebody even asked me that, why do the evil folk continue to live? And I think sometimes maybe God just keeps giving them multiple chances to get it right. But Malcolm was more than an actor. He was into music, he had a band, he did spoken word. Um, also used to run into him sometimes. And again, this is so weird of me because I used to talk to everybody. If I met a celebrity that I liked when I lived in LA, I would totally talk to them. But I didn't talk to Malcolm. I never did. I never did. Because a couple of times when I was out, because I support my girl Cy Smith, and I think they were good friends, and he would often be um, at her events, when she was performing at her performances. Um, so it's just hello. It's just really heartbreaking. Um, hello everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. If this is your first time here, please be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Um, but the death of Malcolm Jamal Warner, um, I mean, I don't know. I kind of couldn't do much at work today. I didn't get a lot done. I mean, I got some stuff done because y'all know I just started a new job. This is week 2 on the new job. Hey, Zoe. Somebody said, "Oh my God, you're friends with my mom. Don't tell her I'm watching you right now. I'm hiding. You don't see me." Okay. Who is your mother? Um, but I just hope that everyone is okay. We can all get through this. Um, this is trying. This hits home. I said this is heartbreaking. Um, hi, Luis. Yeah, I'm fine. I'm just mourning the loss of someone that was a big part of my childhood. I was born in the late '70s and raised in the '80s, and the Cosby Show, that was a must. If I got put on punishment, I was devastated if I could not watch the Cosby Show. Okay, but I just hate that it was such a freak accident. It's like I'm sure he was an experienced swimmer. He goes out for a swim, a riptide comes and whisks him away, and then he drowns ultimately from asphyxiation because he couldn't get up. But one of my friends was telling me whenever that happens, you just kind of just have to ride it out. You have to ride it out. Um, Malcolm-Jamal Warner drowned yesterday on family vacation in Costa Rica, off the coast of Costa Rica. Um, you know, but it's going to be hard. But, thank God, when people that we really like, uh, you're supposed to go with it. You're supposed to go with the flow, is what I've heard. I personally don't dabble in that. I'm not a strong swimmer. I can barely do what I do myself. Um, but that's just it was just weird because I was like that was not in my 2025, but that's how death is, right? Some people are long suffering, and the end is coming because it's terminal or whatever, but then you have people that one day you hear, next day you're gone, car crash, freak accident. I mean, this one poor soul got sucked into an MRI machine, but I'm sorry. That I don't understand that story. So have y'all heard the story? Luis, yes, I see you, honey. Um, there was a story. This is more about death and gloom. Um, there was a story that came out this past weekend. A couple, the lady was having what they call an open MRI. I don't know what that is because I've been in the machine. A lot of people say they freak out in the MRI. You know what? Let me see. Can we? How do we moderate? Um. Okay, so it's a lot of comments I've had to hold because some of y'all are just coming on here to be complete pervs, and that's not cool. Don't do that. Don't do that. Um. Let me see something. Okay. So anyway, apparently the wife called out his name. I don't know if she was freaking out from being in the machine or whatever, but next thing you know, the husband tries to get in there, And he had some 20-pound chain on, which I was like, because when I first saw the story without knowing any details, I was like, so was he like, a prisoner and they allowed him to come be with his wife? I mean, I didn't know, but come to find out he wore that for some sort of workout purpose, right? And so I was like, oh my God, like, what is that? And so, anyway, needless to say, there's a magnetic field, with the MRI and all this stuff. And I think the staff tried to tell him don't go in there until he had to wait 2 minutes. And I guess she was calling his name. And needless to say, he got sucked into the machine and ended up dying in the machine. So, let that be a lesson. Listen to the staff. Miss Barbara says she is scared of the MRI. I don't know. Stuff like that just don't bother me. The scary part for me is getting the results. That's what's scary for me is like, Lord, because I'm one of these people, I go through the extremes. Like, I know my doctors over the years, I've had some great physicians other than Reno. Don't try to get medical attention in Reno. Nevada, they were terrible. Um, But I always go to extreme. Like one time I sprained my back when I was studying for the bar exam. And those books, those study books are heavy. I'm one of those people. I just take everything, stuff it in the bag. And I picked up my backpack the wrong way. And it took a couple of days because, sometimes when you strain your back, it might not hurt right away, but it hurts. And I went to the doctor because I was having trouble breathing. Like it hurt to breathe, right? And so I told my doctor, I said, is it lung cancer? And so after we do this examination, she says, I hate to tell you this, but it's not lung cancer. You sprain your back, have some muscle relaxers and some ibuprofen prescriptions. And she says, it's great that you anticipate the worst. I think that's great. Because I'm always like, it's a cancer. Is it, oh my God, I have, I don't know, what is it? I have an autoimmune disease. You just always think it like that. I'm scared because I'm not, because everybody, I think I would be fine. You put on some good music. And honestly, at the children's hospital, when the children have to get MRIs, they get videos, which I think is really cool. I'm like, y'all should do it for adults because some of us are just big babies. What else has been in the headlines today? Or over the past week? I was supposed to come on here on Fridays. I'm going to start doing a live on Fridays. Hopefully Friday or Saturday, a special edition of A Diva Disturb and talk about all the disturbing headlines. Another thing of interest that everyone has talked about, that everyone has memed, and it's the CEO and the head of HR at Astronomer. Okay, I forgot their names. Was it Kristen Cabot and the CEO? So, anyways, how are you head of HR and you can't even follow your company's, you know, policies and procedures? Because clearly, in most companies, to avoid conflicts of interest, because when there's romance in the office, there has to be some sort of divide there. They're not saying you can't date somebody. I know people who just quit their job so they can be with that person. But not these two. They just out here loud and proud in a Coldplay concert, and Chris Martin, you are cheating. Look at you. He says, I don't know if these two are just shy. They cheating. Look at them. I was like, oh my God, this is hilarious. It's like you don't take your side piece out in public when you know there are cameras around, especially in an arena, and they pan in the audience all the time. What y'all think them jumbotrons are for? Okay, so anyway, it's sad and funny at the same time. Now he's married. However, we cannot definitively prove that she's married. She was married and divorced, and then she got with some dude. I saw an article that said she was like dating some billionaire or something, and they just bought a property together. I'm like, girl, you done messed that up. But somebody will hire her, It's just really sad. I've worked in organizations like that where people thought they were being slick, and later on, there are certain precautions because if you come up pregnant, and then you have to disclose who the baby daddy is ultimately, Cause I mean, what is he gonna do? Act like he don't have no child? Okay, I'm just saying. Okay, so this the workplace drama. If you had just disclosed, but I forgot, I was watching somebody, and they were saying that they bet that she's gonna blame him for it, and then she gonna get a payday. Speaking of payday, Shannon Sharp has settled that lawsuit with that OnlyFans lady who says she is now retiring from OnlyFans. Oh, fell for the okey doke. You better leave them young girls alone. Cat Williams warned you. Monique warned you. Now, I do find Monique to be crazy at times, but I knew she was dead on right about that, amongst some other things too. But, you just gotta leave these young girls alone. It's interesting that he has this code where he won't get into elevators and stuff with women that are by themselves, but he won't. You gonna date an OnlyFans girl. And then you had one, Michelle was stalking. I'm like, these brothers get some cash and then they want to dash to the other side and then they fuck around and find out. FAFO. Woo! Anyway, I think that's all the headlines that we kind of need to talk about. I think today has just been a draining day overall for me and my mental, simply because to lose someone um, that meant so much to my adolescence is gone, and someone that I've moved in rooms with many times. Just was too shy to talk to him. I don't know what the hell was wrong with me. But we were friends on Facebook, but he was rarely ever on there. Which I was surprised he even accepted my friend request, but I guess he figured I had so many mutual friends, why not? But I hope he's resting in peace. And I'm just praying for Malcolm-Jamal Warner's family. This one hurts. It feels like, I don't know, some sort of shift. And I just, but life goes on, right? It goes on. But anyways, I'm gonna get off of here. I am going to get comfortable. I'm going to continue to drink my Michelob Ultra, the lime cactus version. This stuff is good. And I'm not even a beer drinker, y'all, but I found Michelob Ultra works for me. And I like that Belgian beer, the sweet beer. What is it, Lumbex? Lambics? I forgot what the name of it is, but yeah. Um, I do that. Oh, wait a minute. One more thing. So, did y'all see last week where Nicki Minaj crashed out on SZA? I'm like, of all people, you're crashing out on SZA, Miss Lovebug SZA. I swear, one of my friends is a devoted fan to her, and some people believe that people are always sneak dissing on Nicki. But my problem with Nicki is that if you see something, say something. If it was bothering you so much, now all of a sudden you want to start lashing out at people. Okay, it's almost like that little Kim verse. You get vexed and start swinging everywhere. Me shifty. How could so anyway, it's just weird that, hey, it's just weird how Nicki Minaj just pops in and out of these manic states. And the thing about it is she's so strange. Like, she can be the most benevolent person, but then she can be the most evil too. Like, that whole little crew, Young Money from Young Money Records, they just all just kind of off. You know what I'm saying? Like Lil Wayne and then he mad because he couldn't perform at the Super Bowl. Wherein have you known at the Super Bowl? Super Bowl, the only reason I think, what was it the first year that Jay-Z produced? It was in LA, I think. And so they brought out a lot of LA folk, but 50 Cent is not from LA, and nor is Mary J. Blige. So I just thought that was real peculiar. And then Drake, he's been eaten alive and bodied by Kendrick Lamar, basically, because he don't know how to keep his mouth closed. But Nicki Minaj, I'm personally not a fan. I've never really been into her, except for I think the Pink Print I kind of got into, but there were a lot of guest spots on there. So I kind of enjoyed that album, but she's not somebody I would run out to buy a ticket for, like Beyonce, for instance. Um, God, I wish I could afford Beyonce tickets because she's going to be here this weekend, the last round of Cowboy Carter. But I know them tickets going to be high, and Mama just got a job after over a year. Y'all know I've been unemployed for a whole year. How does one survive? By the grace of God. That's all I can say. But Nicki Minaj attacked SZA, and from what I saw, SZA just basically said, Mercury's in retrograde, and it didn't even look like she commented on Nicki's post. Uh, she, yeah, I usually buy off of StubHub. I'm hoping, but I don't know. The cheapest ticket I found, because I've been watching, was like $105. I don't care. I just want to be in the building. I'm gonna also be listening to the radio stations out here. Thank God I'm somewhere where there's actually radio stations that still give away tickets. Actually, urban radio, and try to get some tickets, there, because I really don't have anything to spare at this moment. I'm completely rebuilding my life, by the grace of God. Thank God for my great aunt and other family members and friends that have been helping me out to get back together. Because like this job, it was supposed to be in Reno and ended up they wanted me to come to Las Vegas, and by the grace of God, I got here. So but I'm blessed. I'm hella blessed. But yeah, so I just want Nicki Minaj to do better, because baby, you are in no place to talk about anyone. People are always laughing at her saying she's a cokehead. I don't know how that is to be true, but I have been around some cokeheads, and it seems to be cokehead behavior to me. But I don't want that lady coming after me. I'm just saying this is what I observed. I'm not saying this is an absolute truth. This is my opinion. Oh, she said she went to Penelope said I went to the last show. Baby, it would have been cheaper to fly out somewhere. I know. But you know what? If she truly does execute on an act three, I've already decided I'm gonna use one of my savings accounts to set aside a Beyonce fund. Okay, we're just gonna do it that way. That's the only way I can see it getting done. Because Lord knows my credit has tanked after this, and yeah. I'm gonna tell y'all something. Be very careful. Be very careful about if it's all that glitter is gold. Yeah, they paid me what I was asking for at the last gig, but they were not good people. They just simply were not good people. They did a good job of masking it, because usually I'm good about being able to read. I really didn't see the horns peaking until probably January is when I started to notice a change. I moved there from Atlanta and ended up, getting kicked out, And the way that they did it, they didn't even need to do that. All you had to do was say, you know what, let's just package her out, which they did, but the manner in which it was executed was very poor. And if you needed people to leave, why didn't you just ask for volunteers for people to leave and give them a package? Because ultimately that's what it was. They were being bought out. So it was just crazy. But I think some people just do that because it's in them to want to feel bigger than what they are, to have their ego stroked and to feel empowered, kind of like how that man they say is our president behaves. Really, at the end of the day, some of the people didn't know what they were doing. And, when you tend to show that you know more, that becomes a problem too. You become a threat. From pet to threat. That's the syndrome, especially with black women across this country. But anyways, let me get off here. I am rambling now. Y'all, prayers up for all of us, but more importantly for the inner circle of Malcolm-Jamal Warner. This shit hurts. And like I always still ask, and I know people say you shouldn't ask God, but you really do want to know. Um, why do the good people have to go and not the bad? But anyways, thank you all for joining again. Pay attention Fridays. I'm gonna try to start doing lives unless I'm doing an open mic or something, or just out hanging out in Vegas. Cause hey, why not? Let's enjoy it, especially at nighttime. Baby, this sun will cook you. It will cook you. I done got 2 shades darker since I've been out here, and I only been out here for a week and a couple of days. Anyway, love you guys. I've been Miss Sophia the Diva. Good night. And thank you, Penelope. I will. You too.